The science fair can be a huge moment in a child's life and education, but it can be a fantastic learning experience for their adults, too. School science fairs and the SARSEF fair couldn't happen without parents and caregivers behind the scenes. These parents and caregivers have been through the experience, sometimes multiple times with multiple kids. They have some great advice for our first time science fair adults.
My name's Pen Macias, and I'm a public works artist.
My name is Ana Laura Batres, and I am a school counselor.
My name is Kathy Godwin, and I am a data analyst for the College of Science at the University of Arizona.
My name's Heather. For a living, I run a foundation that provides scholarships to low-income kids attending private school.
Talking to just 4 parents and caregivers showed that science fair projects can be about anything. Most did not have a science background, but rose to the task of facilitating a new learning experience for their children.
My son started his first STEM project in elementary school in 4th grade, and because of that project, my daughter became very interested. So she sort of watched what he did and then went to the SARSEF fair and got very interested, and so she did a project the very next year. So she actually started about a year earlier than he did. My son's first project was aquaponics. It was aquaponics, but recycling the water we have ducks. So he was recycling the duck water to grow plants, to conserve water for the ducks and to grow plants at the same time. And her first project was on whether you could use mesquite trees, cores from mesquite trees to use mesquites for dendrochronology.
So her first project was about echoes. We did this thing where we got these metal buckets, and we dropped things into them, and she did it, not me. But she dropped things into the buckets, and then we also, I would hold the bucket and she would yell into it, so that it would like echo back. So that was the idea, is to like understand echoes.
So this past year, I have 3 kids that have been participating in SARSEF now. This past year, my 10-year-old did an engineering project on developing a latex paint that absorbs carbon, because I'm a muralist, so I work with paint all the time, and he thought it'd be really cool if like a building was absorbing carbon like a tree does, it would, benefit the world, the earth. And then my daughter, who's in 2nd grade, she did a science project on what kind of pigments are in leaves, and when they change colors, what happens to the pigments.
His first exposure was in 5th grade when he started showing interest in his own experiences, medical experiences. And then from there, he just ignited a passion to research more about adrenal insufficiency.
Every year, thousands of kids in Arizona participate in their school science fairs and the SARSEF fair in March. There is a huge diversity of ideas because kids are curiosity machines. With encouragement, they can pursue any question with incredibly creative experiments and engineering designs.
We didn't come from a science background, but as an artist, supporting their creativity was really important to me. So when they showed interest in anything, we would tend to take it too far and just explore. There's a lot of random niches that we've explored through their curiosity.
The most important thing has been following my kids' interests and helping them know with certainty that when they have questions about the world, it's within their power to discover them. So, when they have an interest in something, or they don't know the answer to something, to ask why, or how could we find out, or what would you like to know more of? But following their interests and then helping them sort of dig deeper.
Some curiosities and questions are closer to home than others. Some of the best projects come from a question in a child's own life, or a difficulty they are facing.
So his most recent project was about, he was researching different types of medications that are out from the pharmaceutical industry for adrenal insufficiency, and he found some very fantastic news about it. So he did have some discoveries, and as a parent, I just couldn't believe, what he had found all along, knowing that some medications were not working. and he finally found the why it was not working. It's so exciting, for him to even present it to his endocrinologist and be in wow, even his doctor be so impressed by his research. As a parent, it's just the big pride, you have for your child when they're able to find answers for themselves.
Our parents and caregivers talked a lot about the benefits of hands-on learning. A science fair project means getting your hands dirty, which can fit a lot of kids' learning styles and complement their classroom learning.
Different kids learn in different ways, but she is a super hands-on kind of a kid, so I can talk, but it's also better if she can, has a chance to actually see it and do it herself too. STEM is happening everywhere, all of the time. So to be able to say, well, we learned about echoes, but oh, you have a question about the moon. Oh, you have a question about this. So being able to take her out in the world, being able to show her different things. Just this week, she was trying to ask, she understands ice and water, but she doesn't understand it yet. Does that make sense? So she doesn't quite understand it, so she's asking questions about it. So it's like, okay, let's look at it. We're giving her opportunities, you go to the Desert Museum, you go outside, we play in the pool and we talk about waves. I mean, it's everything because STEM is involved in everything. And so it's just letting her know that it's all around us.
Our parents and caregivers also talked about the skills that their children learned with each project. Many of their children even built skills that outpaced their parents or were in new areas of specialty.
Develop skill sets that I no longer can really lead them in because it's surpassed me. So for example, we got my 12-year-old a 3D printer, and then he learned CAD, and now he can draw something and then turn it into a 3D object on his computer and then print it. And so I guess it's really at this point just opening doors for him to pursue his own interests because I no longer can tell him how to build something in CAD. I don't know.
Parents and caregivers shouldn't worry too much if their child starts studying something they know nothing about. There is a network of resources and potential mentors, both inside and outside your child's school, who can help. Our parents and guardians were able to find great mentors for their vastly different projects.
There was a guy on YouTube that he made landfills more efficient, so we emailed him for some tips on creating a simulated landfill, and he not only gave us the information for that, but he also got really involved in the project, very invested, and he is located in New Mexico, but he actually came to Tucson to help Wyatt with his project, and then he came to the SARSEF convention, and he really brought science alive for Wyatt, and that was the beginning of now a lifetime of just being really passionate about science.
So his mentor pretty much was his middle school teacher. She was the one who guided him along the way, helped with any questions that he had about the scientific, method. So she helped, it was actually an after school club that the school had for the students. So she was volunteering to stay after school with the kids, and it was one more thing, it was one more thing. But for my son, it was really a club. It was something that he wanted to do, something fun, something that he enjoyed. It did not seem like it was more work to him. And I think that's the most important, is when the mentor has that passion, for the science, they make it relevant for the kids. They make it engaging for the kids. So it does not seem like it's one more thing on their plate.
The woman from the U of A who helped her, who worked with her, told her, my daughter thanked her for her help, and she told my daughter, just always ask. Scientists we're always interested in helping. Ask, and if somebody tells you no, if somebody doesn't help you, you didn't ask the wrong question, you asked the wrong person. Find somebody else and ask again until you find the person who will help you. And I think that sort of set the foundation. It was great advice, and she always has. She just asks until she finds somebody to help her. And she's so far always found somebody who's willing to help.
The science fair can be a daunting project, and parents and caregivers do so much at every step. For our first-time science fair adults, these guardians have some hard-earned advice.
I think it's just, feed their curiosity, take them to the public libraries where they have access to all this information, different books at a different reading lifestyle. Is just feed their brain. That's all they need. Be there whenever they have that question and guide them through it. Provide the resources, and like we said before, the child will lead you more than the parent a lot of the times.
It doesn't have to be perfect. You're not trying to. This was a good reminder for myself because I want things to be like, I do an experiment this way. Like she's 7. And so this is all part of the learning process. Like I got to that point in doing experiments at some point in my life, but she's 7.
Keep in mind the goal here is to ignite passion for science. It's not to have an assignment that's miserable to be part of.
So my advice is always follow the kids. What they'll come up with, what their questions are, and the unique way that every kid figures out how to get to the answer to the question that they're asking is so different than anything that I could imagine or anything I think any of us could. And so if I've learned anything in all this time, it's that if I was designing a project, it would be far inferior to anything that my kids come up with when I just stand back and I sort of let them go. And I can help frame it. I mean, I can help create, I can ask questions, help them dig deeper, and I can provide resources for things that they don't have, especially when they're younger. But their own curiosity and their own excitement about a project and about their world is so much better than anything that I could have ever come up with.
Let's wrap things up with a reminder of why we encourage a childhood love for STEM. All of our parents and caregivers have a story of the great memories and skills that their children took from the science fair.
What SARSEF did for my kids' education, what having a passion for science has done for them, it has had an overarching benefit in their entire education. It's made learning and growing in knowledge fun more than a chore. So I think it's so cool that how science really engages kids in learning and growing.
I mean, I like the part where there's stuff spread all over the table and, do you like the way this looks? That's fun. It can be late and it can be rushed, but it's a way to engage with your kids in something that they love, or at least for me, that's what it has been. For our family, that's what it's been.
But one of the things that's happened is she has this confidence, and I can tell getting that trophy, and I'm going to show you with my hands. I don't know. It's not it's this big and it's a little flask. It's really cute. But it has her name on it. And the thing is that she's ever had a day that she was just kind of feeling down, and she's gone and picked it up and, been like, I did this. And I think that's great. I mean, to have that, I've accomplished something, that's so awesome to have when you're 7, to be like, I won something. I did some cool stuff.
As someone who has a child with a medical condition, allowing them to see their strengths and, cheering them up as to don't see your barriers or as obstacles, don't see your weaknesses as obstacles, but use them as strengths. Use them to know about yourself and help other people. So when he was, when he wanted to start this research project about his medical condition, I told him, this is going to help you to learn about your medical condition, but at the same time, whatever your findings are, you're going to be able to inform a whole community, and that's the adrenal insufficiency community. And he did, and a lot of the parents were very surprised too by the findings of, his most recent project.
This science fair and SARSEF season, we are remembering all the work that our parents and caregivers contribute. Many of these parents and caregivers don't have STEM backgrounds and still facilitate an incredible educational experience for their children. For our first-time science for adults, check out the SARSEF website for resources and opportunities for further STEM education.